just giving it a couple minutes. Hopefully the notifications will go out to whoever subscribed to them and someone will show up. Hi there. Hi. How are you? What are you guys up to this evening? My husband's on a work trip and my kids are asleep and I'm bored out of my skull, so I thought, why not come on here? Because I'm sure there will be some other friendly faces. Oh no, getting a cold in the summer sucks. That's awful. That sucks really bad. I had such a muck up in my planner this week. I was trying to do, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and move this closer. My phone, is it a little bit better over here? My phone has a messed up mic on it, and so I've been trying to use the headphone mic in hopes that it will be slightly louder for you guys until I can figure out how to get my phone fixed. I found that out the other day. It's like my regular microphone cuts in and out really bad, and unfortunately I didn't realize that until it was too late. But yeah, I was trying to I was trying to experiment with like a watercolor with markers. Like I drew, does this even make sense? I used a plastic ruler and I drew on it, and then I sprayed it with water, and I was hoping that it would look kind of like an abstract watermelon. And then I pressed down on it too hard and it just mixed the red and the green together and looked like I splattered mud on the side of the page. So that was one of those things where I just decided we're gonna cover it in scrapbook paper and call it good, because next week is vacation and that's just how it is. What are you doing in your planner this week? It's like experimenting, failing, recovering, figuring out new ways. Ooh, you are good. I had big plans to do August. I don't know what it is about summer. I cannot stay on top of things. Like, I think because I have literally no schedule. I have no schedule, so a lot of my planning is like filling it in days later. But I have up until this week done, and I was planning on doing August, and by the time I get back from holidays, it will be August. And I have no idea what I want to do. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do like cottage theme, because I've got cottage on the brain really hard right now, because that's where I want to be. Oh, that's neat. New Zealand. That's awesome. I guess it's a cold in the winter then for you guys. Still sucks though. Nobody likes to be sick. Although, I feel like your winters are. How cold does it get there? Does it actually get that cold? Is that a stupid question? Because I always think of New Zealand and Australia as like really warm places, but I know it is winter there. Ooh, that's beautiful. My anniversary is in August. My husband and I. Okay. I'm used to like here, we get like -20-degree days for days and days and days, and it's so dark. Well, okay, it's not like Arctic dark, but it feels dark because it's always cloudy. And I have to wear like a long coat like down to my knees because I'm a sucker for cold. Which is kind of funny because as a teenager, I used to walk around in like bomber jackets and jeans everywhere. And now I'm like, I just want to be bundled all the time. And it's terrible because you need to like with my son every day when I send him to school in the winter, I have to put on like a full snowsuit just to get him out the door and send him to the bus. And then that means I have to run out in my coat and boots and usually a house coat because I don't put effort into getting ready for the bus. They do look cute. And you can stop, drop, and roll anywhere you want, which is kind of nice. At least when you get the snow. I think what happens with us though is we'll go and we'll get, at least where we are, we get lots of snow and then it all goes away and it just stays frigid cold. And then we get lots of snow again and then it freezes. But it is beautiful. I have to say, I love the snow up until like February. And then I'm just itching for spring because it just gets dark and dreary and I start getting like the winter sadness. At least that's what I call it. It's like when you just want more sunshine in your life and you're like really low on vitamin D and you just need to get outside. That's how I feel near the end of winter because it lasts forever. Like it starts in November and it doesn't end until like the beginning of April. And my birthday's in April, like April 19th is my birthday, and we literally have had ice storms up until then. And it is rough when it's icy. And we have single pane windows, so the wind just like blows through the house, which makes heating suck. That's like my kids. My kids, like we keep our house at, I think it's like 17 degrees or 65 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on if you're Celsius or Fahrenheit. And my kids are always in their underwear. They're 3 and very close to being 6. And they're always in their underwear. No matter the time of year, no matter how cold the house is, they never want to wear clothes. Like, I don't, and they're always warm. Like, you put your hand on them and you're like, oh man, you are burning hot. How are you so hot? And I'm over here, like, in my mom uniform, which is like a house coat and fleece jammies and just like looking adorable. That must be fun. I always admire anyone who can teach children day in and day out. That is a big, huge job. And I commend the amount of patience that you'd have to have that job. Because I love my kids, but I don't think I could work in that field because I just don't think I have the patience to have 20 little tiny people all telling me no at the same time. Oh, we've had hand, foot, and mouth, I guess, going around here lately. My friend's son got it, and then it seems like a lot of kids are getting hand, foot, and mouth right now. Mine never got it, which, yay, but I've heard like lots of people saying that's been going around. And I guess they're always very close and huggy and snuggly. Yeah. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so until Adelaide goes to, I almost said goes to work, until Adelaide goes to school, I'll be home. But I also do photography on the side. So I do like family photo shoots and whatever they hire me for, really. I've done a decent amount of newborn, which I think are pretty cute. But I just do it as a hobby on the side, and I absolutely love it. I think it's great. On top of all the other hobbies that I love. Those are good ages. Like I feel like that must be, well, I'm sure the parenting is still tough because I don't think it ever gets easy, but it must be nice to be able to just kind of pick up and go. Like we're still in this stage where like you can't leave the house without, sippy cups and all their loveys and getting in and out of car seats 10,000 times. Although the older one he's heavy enough now that he can just wear the seatbelt. Thank you. Wow, that's friendly. There we go. We'll get rid of that one. I have a lot of fun. I started this. I don't know if you've ever watched Kirsten Plans, but I actually started planning because I was watching so many of her videos and like binge watching. Oh, that is exciting. I mean, I can't say I'm looking forward to it because I'm an advocate of not wishing the time away, but someday when I can go out and just let my son watch my daughter, that will be great. But we do have pretty awesome parents who are willing to watch our kids and not even just willing, like want to hang out with our kids. So we could drop them off pretty much whenever we want, which is nice. Like we go to my in-laws on Tuesdays and then they usually keep them overnight at least once a month. It does. Actually, we just got my sister-in-law just had a baby this past weekend, so I'm finally an auntie, which is really exciting to have a new baby in the family because ours are the oldest kids. I'm sure you could have found someone. I feel like the elderly love to like hang out with young people, even just like I don't know, they should have like big brothers, big sisters, they should have like adopt a granny. That would actually be pretty rad. I think even I would have fun. I love doing that. Even I used to work at Harvey's, and there was an two older ladies that used to come in, and over the 4 or 5 years that I worked there, they used to come in every week, get the same meal, and they actually came to one of my baby showers because we were such good friends by the time I left. They do. And we're lucky, my husband and I, we still each have a set of grandparents left. Um, they're mine are almost in their 90s, and then his grandpa is in his 90s and his grandma's almost there. But the stories that they tell, and just it's so cool to meet someone who was born like so far back, at least compared to me. But I think it's really neat that my kids know their great grandparents because I don't think that's as common anymore for kids to grow up knowing their great grandparents. I didn't know any of mine even, but my parents were a little bit older when they had kids than we were. But I just think it's so cool that we still have our grandparents around because I absolutely adore them. Me too. I thought maybe there'd be more people around, but it's about, I think, oh, what time is it here? I'm looking at my phone, but I can't check. I think it's only about 8 o'clock here or so. Usually I put my kids to bed around 7, so it's probably 8 or 8:30. There's at least two other people here. Feel free to say hi, although one of them might have been the sketchy guy that I hid from the conversations because he was, yeah, 8 p.m. here. The sun is, well, maybe it's about 8:30. It's just starting to set now, but it probably won't be down until about 9. It stays bright for a while, like my chickens are still running around the yard because it's not dark enough for them yet. Yeah. We get that in the winter, although sometimes in the winter it's dark here by like 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And I hate the time change. I wish they just never changed the time and it was just the same all year. Do you guys have the time change there where it like jumps an hour in one direction or the other? I I feel like it's just a scheme to throw off sleep schedules for like a week in both directions. And it never works in your favor. I think kids are wired to like defy the time change. Yeah, that's what I mean. But I feel like it doesn't really save the daylight because it just gets dark earlier. I wish, like, I would rather it be dark when we wake up and light later in the day because I don't like waking up early. But I definitely enjoy the sunlight for as long as I can have it. And in the summertime, it stays bright for a pretty long time. Me too. I've always been a night owl, much to my mother's dismay, but I've always been like a creature of the night. And in high school, I was the kid who like I would sleep in as late as possible on the weekends, which looking back on is probably a huge waste of time. And then I would just stay up until like the sunrise. So I would be up until like 4 o'clock in the morning all the time, and then get up whenever. But even during school, I think I used to fall asleep around like 4 in the morning, and I would get up at 8 to go to school, and I could not survive on that now. It really depends. When I film my setups, I always do them during the day because I like the sunlight in the window. But generally, when I'm journaling just on my own, it's either early in the morning when I have my coffee or after the kids are in bed and I curl up on the couch and sketch and write everything out. But I love watching like TV and movies and stuff. That's kind of a downfall, I guess, because I waste so much time at night and I can just watch shows like on repeat, or not repeat, but like I'll binge watch like entire seasons of stuff ridiculously fast. And then sometimes I read, but the lighting in my house is pretty bad once the sun goes down, and it bothers my eyes to read in like the dim lighting. So usually I read while they have a nap in the afternoon, when they still nap. But either way, they go to quiet time. They hang out in their bedrooms for a little while I go and relax and get my bearings. Ooh, that's a long time. I have only been bullet journaling, I think this August, or no, it was a year in June, I think. A year in June. But I have been planning for almost 5 years now. I started in a plum paper planner, and then I moved to Erin Condren when it got like all the craze. And I was in the Erin Condren for a few years, and then it just got ridiculously expensive. Like, when I quit my job, it was when I quit Erin Condren pretty much because I just couldn't justify spending $80 on a planner and then more money on like stickers and decorations. So when I found out about bullet journaling and like how artsy you can make it, I was totally down for that. Like a $20 notebook lasts you like 8 months or so, and you can just draw and paint and do whatever you want to it, and you don't have to buy all of the insanely priced sticker kits and stuff. I still love watching videos of people decorating with stickers. I just can't afford all of the beautiful things, especially the shipping. Yeah, I think I love it too because even with the Erin Condren, I would go through times where I would like not even look at it for a while, and I think because of just how I am, I love to change things up. So sometimes my planner is horizontal, sometimes it's vertical, sometimes I just throw dates down wherever I want willy-nilly on the page. And I think that's why I love the bullet journal so much, is because I can do my weekly setup so I have everything to look at, a monthly calendar, and then I can also like journal in pages as well. And the way that I do it just works for me. I just kind of, the journal pages just float in and out between the months, and I just leave a few pages blank to fill it in. And I just kind of guesstimate how many pages I need each month for journaling. But I love the whole system, and I love the way like when you get, ooh, a fly. when you get a fresh notebook and you open it up and it's like you almost don't want to write in it because it's so crisp and clean, and then by the time you get to the end and it gets all bulky. I love like the beginning and I love like the end when you see it all filled in. Hi, welcome. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I love the handmade or the hand drawn feel because I've always been someone who loves to draw and paint and sketch and stuff. But a lot of times I forget to do it just out of fun. But this way, it's sort of it's functional and also fun. Go ahead. I have seen the movie Coraline. Not for a while though. And I only went through like high school was the most school that I had, but I took every art class I could get my hands on because I just loved drawing and painting. And like I took I think a drawing class, a painting class, a sculpting class, a fashion design class. I don't think I've seen Frankenweenie. It doesn't sound familiar anyway. Oh, well, I'm glad it ends that way. I don't think I've ever heard of it. Is it by the same people who made Coraline? Oh, thanks. I think they're pretty cute. I haven't actually the family Instagram I haven't updated in a while. I need to update that, but it's hooked up to my chapbooks account, and I don't want to buy any more chapbooks for a while because they keep raising the prices. So I haven't updated it in a while. I should probably tell it to pause. uh, I know of Betty Boop, but I honestly don't think I've seen more than one or two of those cartoons. That's funny. I had a friend in school who was like obsessed with Betty Boop, and she had like Betty Boop shorts and for gym and stuff. I've never played with a Dutch door. Um, I got something in my eye. I did one time. Sometimes I use sort of like a tip in, which I guess is similar, but I don't usually need that much space. So I feel like if I cut the page, then I'm like taking out valuable space. But I think if I had more going on, aw, thanks. I think if I had more going on, I would definitely want to do more. Although, if I start moving, like, I kind of stopped doing habit trackers because I kind of stopped filling them out. But I was thinking if I added that back in as like a weekly thing, or if there was like something extra I wanted to track, or like I feel like that would be something I would save for if I had like an event. Like at Christmas time, I didn't think about it, but if I had at Christmas time, I would have written the menu out on that spread, and then that way I would have had all of it together, which I think would be a pretty good idea for like a Dutch door for me. But I always think they look super cute. Like whenever I see people flipping them, I'm like, ooh, that's so cute. But I feel like it would just be blank if I did it because even with the just 2 page spread, I tend to do a lot of doodling to fill up the space, especially in the summer. During the school year, I have a little bit more going on because I have Rainer's stuff at the top. Pardon me, and then my stuff in the rest of the page, and then the odd to-do list wherever it fits around there. But I feel like it definitely took me a while to kind of find my groove. Like when I first, I don't know if you saw. Oh man, these flies! We have so many flies in our house right now, and I can't get rid of them. Um, No problem. Just do you plan? Ooh, that's a good idea. I've I've thought about going across the top for like important dates and then just keeping the rest for like to-do lists and stuff. But right now I've kind of just been lately I've been kind of going down the center of the book and then leaving the outside edges, one side for decoration and then the other side for like a to-do list just for the week of things that don't have to be done on certain days. I do not know how to play the guitar. I am musically not talented. I would have loved if I learned to play when I was younger, but now I don't think I have the time or the need to learn how to play an instrument at the moment. Sometimes I sing to punish my children. Yeah, that's why I like I usually do lately I've been doing a horizontal spread, but most of the time I do long columns each day and then Saturday and Sunday are like shorter. But that way you kind of have everything set out and I tend to put anything important or pre-scheduled near the top, or sometimes I fit it in just during, how do I explain this? Like if it's later in the afternoon, I'll put it bigger down in that space. But I am very, like, I need to see it all. And then I also have another calendar in the kitchen that I put all the, like, big appointments on for me as well. I think LOL is just like a habitual answer. Or you just say lol. I know my sister and I always say lol, and it's so cheesy and I shouldn't, but I do because it's a habit. I'm almost 30. I probably shouldn't be saying lol, but I can't help it. I do use it because I tend to, because I don't usually pre-plan that much, just like each week as I go. So I like the monthly planner and I add to it throughout the month. And then every time I plan a new spread, I always flip back to the monthly just to make sure. And then I also sometimes fill in things just so I can see all the things I did that month. But I do actually use it. I was worried that I wouldn't, but I definitely do write everything in it and I refer to it at least once or twice a week just to make sure I didn't forget anything. I like that. No age limit. Actually, what did my grandpa used to say? I remember whenever people used to ask my grandpa for his age, he used to say, age is just a number and mine's unlisted. And he always thought he was so funny. And he was kind of funny. But I just thought he was so sassy. No jumping when you're 60? Or like no jumping off of things? I hope I can still jump at 60. I hope I can still climb things at 60. Like, I would love in like 30 years to still be able to climb things. Ooh, that's a good idea. I have put myself on like, I call it a permanent no spend, but realistically, I do spend here and there because sometimes you need a little shopping therapy. Like I just bought 3 books the other day. But I I like sometimes I go back and forth. Sometimes I do a list view and then sometimes I do boxes because I just love to check back and forth. Hi, Esmac. What do you do in your inner rut? Honestly, I kind of force myself to keep going, but the weeks when I have very little inspiration are usually the weeks when I'm just really busy. And so a lot of times I will just bare minimum like pen, paper, and just kind of do that. But a lot, and then other times, like if I just feel like uninspired, a lot of times I'll either go, usually I go on Instagram. Instagram is probably my favorite to look through and like see spreads. Sometimes I go back and like doodle in later, but a lot of times, or even just fancy writing, sometimes I just fill it out with different kinds of lettering because I feel like that peps it up. But I haven't had a really big rut in a while. And then another thing sometimes I do is I pencil everything in, and then when I'm feeling a little more like, ooh, I want to doodle, then I go back and add to it and fill it all out in pen after. I actually am a huge fan of pencils. I don't ever plan without a pencil. Yep, that's true. And like, there are literally days where I have a list of things I want to do and nothing happens, and I just write, nope, and like throw in I made these like little stickers of like, they look like these little fluffy cartoons, and I just slap one of those on laughing because sometimes life just can't be planned. Like, you gotta be flexible, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Or like, sometimes I write the same thing down 3 weeks in a row, like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And what I'll do is after the third week, I just assume it's not that important right now. And I'll put it on a sticky and I'll leave it off, and then in a couple weeks I'll add it back in. Or I'll really try to get it done. Either one or the other. But I like to keep it fun. And if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. And I don't like it to feel like a chore. Like for me, planning is like very therapeutic, and it's very like, it's me time. I just get into it, and I enjoy it. And I love practicing different fonts and lettering and stuff because I just find that really fun. But I've been trying to improve like my block lettering, my bubble lettering, and stuff like that. What is this? Like, it's. I've been trying out new. This is like not planning related at all, but I've been. Oh, I have tried other planners in the past. I've used plum paper and Erin Condren, but I definitely love the bullet journal the best, and it's the most cost friendly for me. Definitely. Like, I think most of June wasn't filled out for my habit trackers, and sometimes if that happens a few months in a row, I'll just leave that page off and go back to it again later because I just don't like wasting paper essentially. But you just can't always fill it out, or you lose track of time, or honestly, sometimes you just have a lot of fun and you forget to do it, and you just have to you have to live your real life more than you live your paper life. Maybe at some point. I don't upload that often. But I usually, lately, I haven't been uploading on time, but I usually like to put my monthlies up 2 weeks in advance. Obviously, I didn't do that, but hopefully September it will be up on time. I've been trying a new, to style my hair differently lately, so I've been working on getting more curl back in. Um, yeah, you can come back later, of course. If I'm still here, you're welcome, and if not, you can watch the rest. I'll leave this on the channel for a little while. My favorite supplies. Um, the only notebooks I've tried are Leuchtturm. I personally don't care if I can see a little bit of shading through the other side. That doesn't bother me at all. But I do love the journal. I'm on my second one. And they don't fall apart on me anyway. I don't carry it around. But my top things that I use, probably my Crayola Super Tips, as far as color, extra color and stuff. I also love my microns. I have 4 different sizes, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I moved you too far away. Thank you. I'll hold you like this. Okay, so the Leuchtturm is my notebook of choice. I haven't tried others. I'm thinking about trying a Dingbat, but I like the Leuchtturm. I don't mind the shadowing. That doesn't bother me. I know it drives some people nuts. I kind of think it adds character. I like it. As far as supplies go, I love my Micron pens. Those are my go-to. I have replaced them a few times. Um, I think they last really well. They're durable. I can paint over them and they don't feather, and they're not expensive. At least I think they're only about $3.90 or $4 a pen, or you can buy a pack for like a slightly discounted price. But I never go to Michael's without a coupon, so they're always half price. And then I also love my, yeah, I don't know if they're, I think they're by Sakura. I think they're Sakura, Sakura. I think they're the same company that makes Jelly Roll, but they're like, if you've watched a lot of my videos, they're always the beige looking pens that I use. So I use the Micron pens, and then I have a pack of Staedtler fine liner pens. I really love those because they don't bleed through and they're very thin, and I like a thin tip. I also have the Crayola Super Tips, and then always pencil and eraser. I have a few Tombos, which I love, but they're expensive, so I haven't bought more than the pastel pack, but I think they're really nice for um, just adding accents of color here and there. And then probably my most favorite thing is my watercolor paints, because I can make any color that I ever want at the same time. At the same time? No. Any color that I want out of the paints that I have. I can mix pretty much anything. So I love the fact that I can just use my watercolor paints if I don't have a marker or something like that to do that. But I don't, and I mean, I use a lot of washi tape too in the journaling spreads. I don't use it so much in the weeklies, but a lot of times in the journaling spreads, I'll put washi along the top and bottom. It takes a lot of effort, or not effort, well, effort and practice. If you've ever heard of Angela, I think her name is Angela Fair, Fehr, and she does a lot of watercolor painting videos, but she is like the beginning video, or the beginning person I watched when I learned how to mix colors. I love the super tips. You can't go wrong. You can do fancy lettering with them. But if you're looking for how to blend certain colors and like looking at color wheels and stuff, Angela Fair definitely has really great videos on how to mix like grays and browns, and like once you start figuring out the undertones of things, it makes it a lot easier. But I have a little palette of paints that I poured each color in, and then I have a couple custom colors that I use a lot that I just mix myself with the paints that I already have, because it's kind of a money saver. Like I mixed, there's a color that's like really trendy. It's called Payne's Gray, and I ended up mixing a very, very similar version of that. Oh my goodness, these flies are gonna be the death of me. I don't, oh. It's like my house goes in seasons. We get ladybugs, and then we get fruit flies, and then we get house flies, and they come and go. They drive me nuts. I woke up this morning. This is kind of funny. I woke up this morning because a fly kept landing on my forehead. Just one. Kept landing. It was like 6:30 in the morning. And I woke up and I didn't have my glasses on, and I looked up at the wall, and no joke, I thought I had a dead mouse on the wall. And then I got out of bed and I was like, what is that? And I get closer, and I had a frog climbing up the wall of my bedroom, which is the most random thing ever because we don't live in a tropical place. Our bedroom is way upstairs. But this frog, because it looked hairy, and I realized this frog must have been hopping around my bedroom. It was all covered in like lint and hair, and it was ugly. And it was just like on the wall, climbing up the wall. So I went to catch it, and it jumped off the wall, and it went under my bed. And never, ever have I had to chase a frog around my bedroom to take it outside. Like, I feel like that would be something that happens in like Florida, But no, I had this little wall climbing frog hanging out in my bedroom, and it scared. I mean, I love frogs, but I thought I had a dead mouse on the wall. I thought my kids maybe threw like something, like poo or something. I don't even know what I thought. But I woke up and I was like, what is that? And it was a frog just climbing up the wall, and he was really cute. He was like maybe that big, and I put him out the front door. But I was just like, why are you in here? And the only thing we can think of, my son and I, is we have a window air conditioning unit, and somehow it came up the eave troughs and like through the window because I can't see how it got all the way upstairs. It was covered in lint, which means I probably need to vacuum. But it was a very linty frog and so random, but very cute. I always caught frogs as a kid. And to my knowledge, we have no poisonous frogs here, so they're all free for picking up and hanging out with. We also get a lot of toads. And I'm pretty sure this wasn't a toad because I don't think toads have suction toes. I'm pretty sure this was some kind of a tree frog. I've never seen it before. But it was climbing up the wall. And it was high. It was like 7 feet up the wall. It was really high up. It must have been there for quite a while. Sorry, I keep playing with my hair because I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah. I mean, luckily the wall isn't above our bed, but it was such a weird thing. It would have been like stuck to my face. My son would have loved that. If I had told him I woke up with a frog on my face, he probably would have peed himself laughing. He would have thought it was just the funniest thing in the world. He wanted to see it. I almost wish I'd kept him so I could show him because he was really cute, but I put him outside and then I went to look for him and he was gone. Hopefully not eaten by a chicken, but I'm assuming he just went in either up a tree or into the shrubs. He's gonna be 6 in September. He's just a little guy. But he has like the cutest giggle ever. Needs some back support. We always go out in the yard, and any toads that we find, we put into my vegetable garden because they eat the bugs and they're amazing. So my son and I go toad hunting to take them and put them into our garden. And then we go caterpillar hunting to take them out of the garden because they destroy my plants. I did not go to art school. The furthest education I had was actually high school. I did get into college for photography, actually, and cosmetology, but I ended up not going because you don't actually need a license here to do either of those things. And so I did do cosmetology for a little while, or not cosmetology. I did do I was a makeup artist for a couple years, and then I transferred over and started doing photography. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, but on the side, I do photography. I've done newborn, some engagement shoots, some family stuff. Whatever people really want is what I'll do. But I absolutely love taking photos. It's one of those things where, to me, once the photos are all done, I love seeing people when they get their pictures and they just think they're great and I think they're great and I just love how they come out. If I can amaze myself at how good the photos are, then it's a job well done, and that makes me really excited. But oh man, this hair, it's just nuts. But my mom is also an amazing artist. She doesn't use it much anymore, but I remember when we were kids, she could pencil sketch any person anywhere in 10 minutes and it would look amazing. I always tell her she should do more drawing and give it to people at church or just like hand it out, give it to people, like make art to give away because she is so good and she keeps all of her art in the basement and no one sees it and I just think it's beautiful. Oh, thank you. That painting, I was like something I was really excited about. That's one that I was proud of. That picture of my dog. I love it. It's actually I'm like looking up there. I put it up on the wall because I was pretty proud of it. I haven't done anything else acrylic, but I should. I should get into it because it's really fun. It just takes a lot of time and I don't know what I want to do. A lot of times I just do watercolor because I find it easy and fast to make something look neat. Like when I do cards and stuff, I tend to do watercolor because it's just so fast to put together and like looks more polished than if you do like a really bad acrylic painting. But I definitely get the art gene from my mama. And then it's kind of funny, my mother-in-law is also like an amazing painter. She does a lot of oil paintings and then just drawings in general. Like between her and my mom, there are some very beautiful artists in the family. Even Jared's sister, actually. She's really amazing too. She did, actually, my sister-in-law. It's kind of hard to see, but she painted that picture up there, which is like someone walking up a street and then there's like street lights and stuff in it. I don't actually have, oh no, I have that one picture of Mauser, but I don't have anything else I've done in the living room. I have some stuff in the kitchen. I need to paint some new stuff though, because I think the things that I painted, they need to be revamped because they're kind of old. Aw, I hope they at least appreciate it. I love being creative. Like, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have like an artsy outlet. Although, funny story, my sister, when she was in grade 12, she got me to do her year-end project. So I painted her year-end painting for her. Oh, that's so nice. I hope that my kids are artsy. My husband is very musical. Like he doesn't spend his time drawing. He's capable of drawing, but he doesn't spend his time doing it. But he is an amazing singer and he can play like the piano and the drums, I think, certain drums, and he can play the guitar. And he's pretty amazing. But I hope my kids are at least musical or or artsy or both. But my daughter does love to draw. And even my son, he's getting a lot better too. But he does a lot more like he'll find things and he'll trace them, which is kind of cute, but he's definitely getting more into drawing now that he's a little bit older. But the little one loves to color, loves to paint, loves everything artsy, fartsy, just loves it. And they really like crafts too. So I hope that is something that stays with them. But I just think it's cool to watch them as they get older and to see like the things that they're interested in and the things that they want to do and similarities and differences. My son, I would say, even more so than like drawing and stuff, his favorite thing, he loves to build. He will build, like he'll spend hours building train tracks or skyscrapers, Lego buildings, airplanes. He builds everything. He spends all his time at school building, and it's so amazing. And he can balance things like when he grows up, he says he wants to be a scientist and make rocket fuel, and he also wants to be a spider scientist. So he has big hopes and dreams that I hope he achieves. And sometimes with my daughter, I'll bring a little table into my room and give her all her markers and coloring books, and I'll journal at the desk while I drink coffee, and she'll color behind me. And then eventually starts coloring herself and coloring her face and coloring her legs, and then I turn around and she's purple, and then we have to shower her down. But as long as she's coloring on herself, I don't care. It's when it makes it to the floor, then I'm like, okay, we gotta put the markers away. There's a chicken on my piano. I think it's supposed to be a sponge dish. I'm not sure, but my daughter carries it around and she loves this little chicken. And also, my husband is the only person who ever touches this piano. But it's super out of tune because we've moved twice. And, well, I think we've moved the piano 3 times and it's never been tuned. Oh, no worries. What does your school year go by? Like, do you guys, like, how does that work? Like, are you guys, this is a dumb, this question is not coming out right. Where you guys are, when you have like Christmas holidays, does that fall like in your summer vacation? Or like where does the school year start and end for you guys? Oh man, I constantly hear gymnastics out here, like if I'm in the other room, and it's always like 10 seconds before someone falls off onto the floor. That is so awesome. At least it seems like it would be awesome. Oh, you're from New Zealand too. That's awesome. How often would I water a potted plant? Never, because I don't own any. But probably if I had one whenever it felt dry. I don't actually have any indoor plants. I only have outdoor plants. And I only have things that are easy to not kill. Oh, that's sweet. We only get 2 weeks here. But I feel like my kids. Oh, a pot plant. A pot plant. That I really have no idea. That I have no clue. Sorry, I thought you meant potted. A pot plant? I don't know anything about pot plants. Okay, sorry, I just read that one message, SMAC. So you guys start in August and end. That's a longer. Oh no, it's not longer. It's just a little bit, like a couple weeks off from our year. So that's not too different. For some reason, I wondered if it was like kind of flipped, like to be around the same. We don't start until, oh, this goodness. We don't start our year until September, and then it ends. So I'm in Canada, so we usually start, at least my kids. They always go back the Monday after Labor Day weekend, and then oh, okay. So you guys are very, yeah. You guys go back. It always seems like you end early and you start early, but that's just because we're not used to it. But our school year goes from usually September 5th ish, whenever Labor Day weekend falls, and then they get out at the very end of June. So it starts a few weeks after you guys and then ends a few weeks after you guys. But we definitely don't get 3 weeks off at Christmas. We only get 2. I like it, at least here, because we tend to get the most time off during the nice weather, or the nicest weather. So then September, usually it's pretty mild until the end of September. Okay, so you just kind of, they space out the year. That's interesting. That's awesome. Because we're still in school over Christmas and the New Year, so we get like 2 weeks off. But I feel like they get a lot of long weekends throughout the year, and then we get a week off in March. Oh, okay. It's neat to hear all the different, because I know when I watch Cindy from Llama Letters, I know she was talking about her kids being out of school, and I'm like, they're out already? Mine still have 3 more weeks, or my son still does. Tell her Canada is awesome. I live in Ontario, so it doesn't get as cold as some of the other provinces. Well, depending. BC gets pretty warm, or stays pretty temperate, I guess. They don't get a lot of terrible weather. We get all the seasons, and we get all the seasons like really hard. Oh, okay. I love Canada. Um, Bet she wants to go to Toronto, doesn't she? Toronto is not my favorite place, I have to say. It's not my favorite place. I don't like driving in Toronto. I don't, they have good events, like they have concerts and it's easy to go to, but I hate driving through Toronto because the traffic is horrendous. My favorite part of Canada is definitely when you go up a little more north. It depends. Where I am, very rarely do we get snowed in. More in like the prairies, like Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, I think they get a lot more snow than us, and it's quite a bit colder. But we do get a decent amount, but I feel like our plows are pretty good at keeping it out. But there are some nights where you get like 2 feet of snow while you're sleeping, and you go out the door, and the door has like 2 feet of snow up the door, and you have to kick a path out to the road if the bus actually comes that day. And you always need a snowblower. But my favorite parts are definitely like the mountains and the trees a little bit further up north. My grandparents have a cottage up north, and it's mountains and trees and nature, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I love it. Even just driving, we live out in the country, so driving into town, there's like a lot of forests on the way. Yes, that's where all the parliament buildings are. And it's like a stone's throw from Quebec, so you could actually visit two provinces at once. Ottawa is actually pretty close to my cottage. It's about an hour away, so it's beautiful up there. But that's where all like the government stuff is, like all the parliament buildings and everything, because that's the capital city of Canada. Maybe she heard something at school. That's neat though, that she wants to come to Canada. I'm sure we'd love to have her. We actually we've been we got a new puppy back in October, so he's pretty big now. But the training method that we bought like a training thing, and that guy is actually from New Zealand, and he's super awesome. And then we actually also bought his book. But he's like the dog whisperer. He's awesome. That's a long flight though. She'll have to save some monies for all of you, because you'll have to go with her. I would personally love to go to New Zealand. I think that would be beautiful. I think that would be amazing to go someday. My husband and I feel like we'll probably go somewhere hot at some point, because they're just like cheap trips to go on if you want to go on vacation. Um, I think it depends. Is your dollar sort of like similar to Australia? Like I feel like whenever I look online and I see Australians talking about how much stuff costs, it's always a way higher price point. Um, I would say it's more expensive than the States, but I don't think it's that expensive overall. Like the cost of living versus the cost of um, like what or versus what you get paid, I think evens out pretty well. But I think maybe I'm just used to it. But I feel like whenever I see stuff, like it'll be like I've heard people say like it's like $30 for mascara, and for here in our dollar, it's like as low as $5 for a mascara, or as high as like $30 for the most high end thing you can get. Like Sephora brands or whatever are like the $30 mark. But I feel like we're a little more than the States, but not as high as other places.
but I'm also really bad at like how exchange things work. But I'm assuming if you guys came here, it would be more expensive. But maybe that's wrong. Ooh, there's mice in the ceiling. Scurrying around. Okay, so your dollar is worth more than ours. Then you guys are lucky. But is your cost of living just higher then maybe? Because I feel like a lot, or maybe it's just like shipping and stuff is really hard to get there. Is I know whenever I see prices of like stuff in the States, I know it's going to cost me almost double, or it's going to feel like it costs almost double. Because I think the Canadian dollar is about 75 cents. Like my dollar is worth 75 cents in the States. So it does not go as far at all. That sucks. They raised our wages, but I don't know if that really helps because whenever they raise the wages here, it just makes everything else more expensive too. So it always catches itself up. Like our minimum wage, I think, is $15. Yeah. Like our minimum wage is 15 bucks an hour, but everything that you buy just keeps getting more expensive. And then the tax brackets get you. So sometimes you get bumped up to 15 an hour and then you end up making less because they take so much more in taxes. So you're just kind of screwed. But I think for me anyway, I'm just used to it. Like I'm just used to things getting more expensive over time. And I also am not the breadwinner, so I don't notice prices of things quite as much as like my husband. But we try to budget. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what the living wage here would be. Like I'm not sure what they're guessing it would be. Um, but I know the minimum here is 15. But that's all I know. But I mean, I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I can't really pinpoint it. Like for me and a family of 4, we usually yeah. We usually spend about 125 a week on groceries for my husband and myself and my 2 kids, which is I feel like average. I hear people in the States are like, I bought $70 worth of groceries and they have so much food. And I'm like, I could buy like 6 things and it'll be $70 depending on what the things are. But we buy a lot of produce and I look a lot for like deals and stuff, but we usually spend about 125 a week on groceries and don't eat out very often. And I only have to actually plan for 6 meals because my in-laws feed us on Tuesdays. So I don't have to make dinner on Tuesdays. Which is like the best thing ever. Like finish the weekend, dinner on Monday, and then free food on Tuesday and family visits. Oh my goodness. And you only have, there's 5 of you, you said. Or I'm assuming 5. You said you had 3 kids? That's like crazy. If we had to, that's a lot. Although that 19-year-old probably eats a lot more than my 5 and 3-year-old. Can I stab you in the belly button? Probably not, no. I love like random dinner nights. Once in a while, like I love cooking, but sometimes when I have no motivation, I feed the kids whatever in the world they want. And my husband and I will like get a cheap panzerotti or something in town after. He'll go out and get it. There's been a couple of awkward questions tonight. Definitely the last couple haven't been as bad. Hi there. I'm good. I love breakfast for dinner. It is especially convenient because we have 10, well, actually, we have 28 chickens, but only 9 of them are old enough to lay eggs, and one of them's a rooster. So we have a lot of eggs. So whenever we get like an overabundance, there's like quiche and frittata, and then also just fried egg sandwiches. We love breakfast for dinner, and we really love hollandaise sauce. Like, It's actually really easy to make hollandaise sauce. I thought it was daunting when I first thought about doing it, but it's so easy to whip up and it's so delicious. Like I would put hollandaise sauce on everything in my life probably. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of this before it gets creepy. Dessert for dinner is tasty. Or like Belgian waffles with like all the toppings on them. Or crepes. Crepes are good too. Or like my in-laws, they make this like crab salad kind of thing, and then you fill crepes with it, and it's so good. My mother and father-in-law are like amazing cooks, which is also why Tuesdays are extra special because it's like a surprise dinner, but you know it's always going to be something like really, really awesome. And I feel like my father-in-law and I are always trying to like one up each other on like how we cook things and how we make things, and we're always sharing like this is what I did this time and this is what I did that time. And I just love eating good food. Let's be real. Good food is important. And we always have like 4 packs of bacon in the freezer because bacon is a staple in our house. If there's like no other option for dinner, I'll thaw a pack of bacon and I literally fry up the bacon, onions, and mushrooms, and tons of garlic, and pour that with olive oil over noodles and call it good. I love visiting them. We don't visit my parents, or my dad works shift work, so it's harder to schedule with them. He'll work 3 days daytime, and then he'll have 2 days off, and then he'll work 3 days but at nighttime, so he's sleeping in the day. So it's a lot harder to coordinate meals with my parents than it is with my in-laws. And then my sister a lot of times will visit on, she's actually not here tonight. It's Wednesday. But a lot of times she'll come into town on Wednesdays if she's off, and we hang out and drink some wine and just like talk until we fall asleep. Because I love my sister. I just love my family. Like, I don't think I could ever live far away from my family until at least my kids are a lot older. But I'm such a homebody. I just love being near my family. Um, this one? Or this one on here. How do I turn? It says show me a day when the world wasn't new, and it's a dove from Noah's Ark, which is like the most awkward way to turn your arm around. And this one says storms will surely come, true love is a choice you must make, and you are the one I've set my heart to choose. As long as I live, I swear I'll see this through. And they're lyrics from a song by a band called Thrice, and the song is called The Wait, and my husband and I both have the song lyrics on our biceps. And the song is, I feel like the lyrics are really romantic, but the song is a lot heavier than the lyrics would lead you to believe. And then I have, this is an owl and a reindeer, because my kids' nicknames are Owl and Reindeer. Hi, nice to meet you. Well, we'll be glad to have you, but I think your mom would miss you. It's a beautiful country, though. And I would say most of the people are quite friendly. And the Parliament buildings are pretty cool, and they put on a really good fireworks show at New Year's. And actually, there's you can skate the canal in the winter in Ottawa. There's like I think it's the Rideau Canal. I think that's what it's called. But it freezes over in the winter, and you can actually ice skate down it. I haven't done it because I didn't have skates, so I walked it in boots, but it was really pretty, and we did it at nighttime. But I live a lot more south of Ottawa, about 6 hours away. So I'm like below Toronto. That's where I am. But then if you go to Ottawa, there's also Muskoka and Algonquin kind of area if you like hiking and forests. I have always lived here. I'm actually now I only live about 15 minutes away from my hometown, which is great. But I my parents never moved. I lived in the same house from when I was about 1 year old until I was married, and then lived with my in-laws a little bit in the same town with my husband, and now we live just a tiny bit outside of town in the country. But I've never strayed very far from home. I did live in London, Ontario for a couple months after high school because I wanted to move out and be an adult. And then I had a really hard time finding a job and realized I didn't need to move out yet. And I lived in a really sketchy place with sketchy roommates. So I went back home to my parents until I got married. But that was like maybe 6 months that I wasn't at home, if that. Definitely a life experience. Probably not, because I don't think I'd have any way to record that because I would need like a proper microphone. I think so, probably because it's so expensive to move out, but I think like I have had a job since I was 12 years old. Started babysitting. By the time I was 14, I had like a real job, a really good paying job actually. And then I worked all through high school, and by the time I was an adult, I had like a I want to be on my own. And then I realized it's a lot harder to be on your own than you thought, especially when you live with people who are shady. And I ended up going back home, and now I'm an adult. Yeah, he lives, our prime minister lives in Ottawa, yeah. I'm never up. I've never seen any of our prime ministers or anything, but I live quite far away. It'll be interesting to see who's there by the time you come. Well, this mic's not so bad, but this is actually my headphones that I use to record my voiceover because they don't have as much room noise as my other microphone that I had. Um, but my other microphone needs a preamp, and I do not have a preamp. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, but that's just what they call it here. Although you guys have a prime minister too, don't you? Or is it? I thought you guys had a prime minister. I feel like you guys are just like far away Canada. So don't you guys use the metric system? And I think you have a prime minister. You're like our twins with way cooler accents. My channel is at the moment strictly planning. I thought it would be fun to come on here and talk to whoever was around tonight. But my planning is or my plan. Oh my goodness, my channel is mostly a planning channel where I do bullet journal videos every month. And then also, I guess, also I do a couple painting videos here and there, but I haven't filmed any of those lately. It's a lot harder to film things when my kids are both home. Well, thank you. I saw that. She looked great. Like, I think that's really cool that she just had a baby and is just doing her thing. I think she's doing great. And she's so young. I mean, I guess maybe Justin Trudeau is so young, but I don't think I can't, at least not in my lifetime, that I ever recall having a female um, prime minister. I think they've always been men. which is fine, I guess. But I just think it's really neat how everyone celebrated her like new journey to motherhood and everything. I thought that was really neat. I saw we got a lot of shares of that on my Facebook page. I saw that. Hobbies, drawing, painting, photography, amateur chicken keeper. Oh, I think that's a tough job. Like, at least here, I know that I feel like whenever everybody votes, right? And then, no, I'm drinking a grown up drink. It's a beer, but it's one of the fancy ones we had in the fridge. But I feel like politics are always messy. Like, everyone votes, but no one likes the outcome, or no one likes the people who voted for the outcome, and it gets really, really crazy. I guess I kind of feel like I vote for who I vote for, and either it goes my way or it doesn't, but at the end of the day, my peers are my peers, and I love them, so whoever they voted for, one way or the other, I just accept it and move on and assume it's for the best. And just hope that even if it's the person I don't want in, like, if it's not somebody I chose, I hope that they do the best job that they can for the country, because that is a tough job. I would never want that job. I couldn't imagine running a country. And everyone thinks, like, I feel like people judge politicians like their job is really simple, and like anyone could do it, but I don't think they could. I think it's a much tougher job than some people realize. And so you kind of just have to, people make mistakes and they make good decisions and they make bad decisions and you just have to roll with it. There you go. The bubbles will take the itch away. I find, at least for me, if I have a sore throat, I always put a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar in a small cup of water and chug it down. And I feel like that kills some of the hurt. Yes. I swear. The amount of things that have come through with their outfits and their this and their that, and I'm like, they're just like the poster boy of the campaign. It's not their fault what they look like. I feel like as soon as someone's in the public eye, people think that it's like free, like open season for making fun of them in every way, shape, or form. But that's not fair. It's like, I mean, I'm lucky and I've managed to avoid most of that on YouTube, but I see so many comments where I'm like, just because they put a video on the internet doesn't mean you get to just give them unwanted, terrible comments. Exactly. Although I guess once you start getting hate comments, then you know you're popular because it's like a really messed up situation. I know. I always try to teach my kids to just love everybody, so I'm hoping that when they're older, it'll work out. Yeah. Or just like the tabloids and stuff, like I feel like most of these people wouldn't want their lives just plastered across magazines and plastered across everything imaginable. Yet they make a living off of like sharing people's secrets. Like, not everybody wants their dirty laundry out in the open. And you can't tell me that famous people are the only people with dirty laundry. Like, everybody has dirty laundry. I mean, when I was younger, like quite quite young, I was not a very nice kid. Like, I went through a period of time where I wasn't a very nice kid, and I wouldn't have thought it at the time, but when I look back on it and I like think of the comments that I left, thankfully, I got my act together before the internet was around for too long. But when I realized some of the things I said, I'm like, why would I ever say that? I would never say that. And I just feel terrible that I ever wrote something bad. Oh, yeah. There's like entire forums of people who just
talk horrible things about people. Who's got time for that? Like, if you have enough time to ruin someone's life and make it miserable, you need to make your time, or you need to be more constructive and use your time to make people happy. Like, come on. I never buy magazines because one thing you I feel like if I was to buy a magazine, I spend $5 to pay for all of the advertising that's in the magazine. Like, you might have like 3 good stories you want to read in the entire thing, and the rest is like a picture of an ad and a picture of an ad and a picture of an ad, and I'm like, I could just go to the store and look at all this stuff sitting on the shelf. But I hate paying for advertising.
Oh my goodness, it's true. It's true. When I have a time hop app on my phone, so it actually is hooked up to your Facebook and your Twitter and everything. And some of the Facebook, I mean, I don't think I've had as many bad Facebook things because I was a little bit older. Like I was 16 or 17, I think, when I got Facebook. So there's not as many cringy things. But I know, like, when we used to have, like, MSN Messenger and stuff, and, like, when we first got the internet when I was younger, it was a lot easier to, like, kind of be anonymous. But, oh my goodness, I can't imagine the drama or the trouble I could have gotten into back then if I had had access to like Snapchat and stuff back then, because oi, it's a scary scene. Like, I know a couple of younger people now, and like some of their Snapchats are so sketchy, and I just think like the internet is forever. I know it's Snapchat and I know it deletes itself, but the internet is still forever. Someone screenshots it, someone figures out a way to save it. It's so, just don't do it. Like, my MySpace that I made as a teenager is still alive. And I can't get rid of it because I don't remember the email that I had to open it. So forever and ever and ever, my old MySpace is up, and I have black hair and angry, sad music lyrics, and I don't even know what pictures. It's awkward. And it's not, the internet is forever. Whenever people don't believe me, I show them that. And I'm like, do you think I want this up? No. The internet's forever. Don't put that on there. Yeah. Like, especially with conversations, because technically, when you have a private conversation, it deletes if you click out, but the other person can still save the conversation. So even if you're having a conversation and you think you deleted it, they can still save it until they unsave it. So just don't put anything weird on the internet. That's my advice. If you think your mom wouldn't want to see it, don't put it on the internet, ever. I think social media has high points and low points. I love social media. I think it's fun to share my life. I love watching other people's lives, but I think it's just important to remind yourself that people generally show the best 5%. So when you post pictures and you post statuses and you post things, a lot of times it's like the best of that. And you just have to remind yourself not to compare yourself to other people, because that's really important. Um, I've never really fallen into that. Like, I don't know why, but like when I see other people's Instagrams and stuff, a lot of times I don't what was I gonna say? Like, I don't want to be that person, but I also know that when they show like someone will be like, "Oh, my husband bought me roses," and every day they post this like nice thing, and I'm like, that's the best 5%. It doesn't mean that your husband doesn't love you just because he didn't buy you roses every day or something like that. Like, you have to really keep yourself in check and try not to want what other people have so much. But I think it's fun to have had social media because there's just a lot of fun to be had there as long as you do it in a conscious way. Sorry, I keep moving this thing away. I don't know Simply Nailogical, but I think she might actually be from Ottawa. I think. I remember when I found out she was Canadian, and I thought that was cool. Um, Sometimes I can pick out Canadian accents, but I feel like it just depends on the person. Like, I feel like sometimes they have really like soft A sounds, like ah sounds, but maybe I sound Canadian too, and I just don't realize it. I'm not sure. A lot of times I can't tell between Canadians and Americans, but it all depends on the geography. Like, if you're from Nova Scotia or like Newfoundland, you sound a lot different than you do here versus like out west. Like, we have a lot of different accents. So does the States, I think. Okay, yeah. I thought she was from there. I think she'd be really funny to meet in person, but I don't know her. I'm like a silent viewer, although I feel like I must be subscribed to her from my old channel because I don't think I've seen any of her videos in a while. But I always thought she was really funny. They do say A lot. And another thing that I noticed, so I didn't notice this until it was memed, but aside from Canadians always saying sorry, because like that is a thing. Like, someone could run over me with a shopping cart and I would go, "Oh, sorry." But the other thing is, like, I notice when you bump into people or if you do something silly, nobody really says oops. They just go whoop. And I saw a meme of that one day about being Canadian, and I remember thinking like, oh, I do that. I say A, I say oop, and I sorry like there's nobody's business. Which is really funny because sometimes like I'll be standing in an aisle like in line or something, and somebody will walk by and they'll walk into me, and I'll go, oh, sorry, and then I'm like, wait a second, I didn't walk into you. I was standing still, like I was stationary. In Fargo. Is that a TV show or a movie? I don't think I know that one. But I feel like in general, most people are pretty friendly. See, I told you. I've heard people say is like New Zealand apparently is like Canada, and a lot of people say Australia is like the States. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I've heard that joke made, actually by a girl from New Zealand. She said it was like coming home, which was really cute. I have not gone to the Maple Taffy. The you mean like the Maple Pull? I think it's or something. I haven't, but I know in the winter they have like a whole festival, which I would love to go to at some point. I think that would be great. They do it. They're in Quebec City too. They like pour maple syrup or something like on ice, and it gets really hard, and then you like eat it once it gets cold. But I've never actually done it myself, but I've heard of it, and it looks delicious. I love maple syrup. Like, maple syrup on everything is amazing. Like, I dip my bacon in maple syrup and sausages in maple syrup. And I put maple syrup on breakfast sandwiches because like maple syrup runs in our blood. Do you guys have like is it a thing like where that you guys love maple syrup there? Like, I feel like a lot of people in the States don't um seem to be as keen on like real maple syrup. It's pretty huge. I'm also not a big traveler. Like, I've only ever been to Ontario and Quebec. Those are the only provinces I visited. And then I've gone to the States to Kentucky, but those are like the biggest trips I've ever done. Quebec City and Kentucky. But I would love to travel across Canada. Like, apparently, you can take a train across Canada or even just a road trip, I think would be pretty amazing to just go through each province and see all the differences between each province. But it is massive. Like, it's as wide as the States and it's really tall, but it's a lot less populated. Oh, maple syrup is so good. Actually, our neighbors, we take them eggs sometimes, and the trade-off was they had homemade maple syrup that they gave us because we brought them eggs.
So that's like, I don't like when people pay me for eggs. Like, I always feel bad charging people, but I'll always take a trade because I love giving to people. So I feel like they like giving back. Like, I feel like it's like a nice little like village feel. Or sometimes they'll give us like zucchinis or like different veggies from the garden and stuff, which I think is neat. But eggs are like probably my biggest gifty thing because we have so many of them. I always like pack up a carton whenever I go to visit someone and I take them a carton of eggs because one, we have a lot, and two, I just think it's fun. Yeah, actually, everyone, like on my street, there's maple trees all up and down the street, and then there's like an all over here. People tap the trees, and they actually harvest the syrup from the trees, and then they cook it down in their backyards, and put it into jars, and it's delicious. It's so good. Like Aunt Jemima has nothing on real life maple syrup. Chickens are so funny and like awkward looking. I wonder what kind you guys had. Did you have like Jersey Giants or Brahmas or something? Like ours are, we have a lot of Easter eggers, which are like crosses between Americanas and other breeds that lay brown, blue, or green eggs, which are pretty neat. And then we have a couple of Rhode Island Reds, but I think they only get about 8 pounds full grown. But we live in the country, so they can just run all over the yard. Yes, get a maple tree or find some maple trees. I think it would be so cool to tap trees. We don't actually have any maple trees on our property, I don't think. But any like we've had a couple different people give us homemade maple syrup, and you can cook it in like a light maple, you can do like a regular, and then there's like a dark, so it's like a little bit more done or more what's the word? Boiled off or whatever. It's sort of, I guess, similar. It's like tree caramel sauce or something because it's similar in the way that you cook it down, and then as the water evaporates out, you get like the nice, tasty maple. Oh, okay. So I guess they're roughly the same size as ours, but we have a pretty big yard, so I guess I don't notice that they're bigger. Most of ours are babies right now. We have 18 small chickens. I think a few of them are roosters, but most of them are hens, and they're so cute and they're so friendly. Like, they just let us pick them up and carry them around, and they're so adorable. Yes, it's exactly like that, except less scary because I don't like bees. I like bees to pollinate my garden, but I don't like them to try and pollinate me. My plan this year is to get tested to make sure that I'm not allergic to bee stings, and once I find that out, then I don't care anymore. But I've never been stung in my life, and I have really bad reactions to other bugs, so I just don't want to get stung in case something bad happens. But I'd like to find out if I'm allergic or not. The bantams are so cute. They're so little. My friend has a couple, and they're like the size of pigeons. They're super tiny. But then we also have one that's part silky. So she's like a little bit bigger than an average bantam, but a lot smaller than a full size chicken. And they're really cute. And apparently the silkies, like they have those, like they have these really frizzly feathers. And she's kind of ugly actually, but like cute ugly. But you like silkies they're pretty cute. Or they have ones that are called like Polish something, and they almost like I call them Shih Tzu birds, like the dog, because they have these tufts of fur or of feathers on their heads that like almost come down in front of their eyes, and people put them in little elastic bands, and they look hilarious, like little chickens running around with ponytails, and they're just the cutest things. But they're, I think, probably way too small to put in our flock. Although Fezzi's small, so maybe they'd be fine. I don't know if they're as cold hardy though. Like our chickens, we don't have to keep heat on in the winter. Even when it's like negative 30, they're fine. But those little breeds, I'd be worried without a heat lamp. And we don't have electricity in our coop. But I really love my birds. I just think they're so cute. And my dog. He's really cute. He's in the kitchen, but he's super cute. And like so snuggly. Our old dog, we loved her. we loved her a lot, but she was not affectionate. Like she I sh if you've ever known a dog who didn't like a belly rub, like that was my dog. She did not care about belly rubs. She did not care about love and affection. She just wanted to run and run and run. Like not run away, but she just was so hyperactive. This dog, he's really funny. I'll scratch him under here, and then his whole face just goes like this. And he falls over and flips over and then just like wants you to rub his belly for eternity. And he would stay for a belly rub over and over and over, and he would never leave you. And then he just like wants to be touching you all the time. He's so cute. And he has this like big brown head, and he's just so adorable. An inside bird or an outside bird? I'm much more of an advocate for an outside bird. Indoor birds are really stinky and hard to keep alive, in my experience. But maybe a really tiny chicken. You could try tiny chickens. But you have to at least get two. Chickens are very social birds, so they need at least to be in pairs or in trios, or else they get sad because they need a buddy. We actually just expanded our coop last weekend or this past weekend, so it's triple the size that it was before, so they have lots of room for the days that they can't free range. And if you get them when they're babies, you can like hug them and hug them and hug them, and then when they're older, they'll just eat out of your hand and love you forever. My big ones do not love me so much. I feel like that was like my house growing up. When I was younger, we had 3 dogs, well, 3 Shih Tzus, and a cat, and a budgie. Not all of these pets at the same time, but we did have a budgie. We had hamsters. We had a couple of rats at one point. Um, we had lots of critters. And actually, that cat, we just lost our cat last year, but she was like almost 16 years old. She was a pretty old girl. And then my childhood dogs, 2 of the 3 are still alive. One is 16, or sorry, the cat was like 14, but one dog is 16 and the other dog is 15, and they are so old. And they're starting to show it. But they're super, super tiny, so my parents just like carry them everywhere. I was the kid who used to go to the pet store and just buy animals and bring them home. And now I'm the parent who like wouldn't allow my kid to ever do that in a million years because I know how much work it is to take care of all these things because I had to pay for them and bring them home and pay for them like all their food and all their like my parents did not pay for my pets at all. And I don't want to go and they didn't clean them either. So that was all on me and after a while I was over that. Especially now that I'm older. I keep telling my son no more indoor pets. Cats go for a long time. Our poor kitty, she started having weird symptoms, but not enough to like go to the vet. Like they were very sporadic. But we noticed near the end she was getting really mean, and we think she had kidney disease. So she ended up having a seizure, and then we had to get her put down, which was really sad. But cats are hard. Like they don't show you that they're sick until it's like almost too late. Same with chickens. Chickens are kind of the same way. They're like very stoic. They don't like to show that they're not feeling well until it's too late. Dogs are wusses and they just show off and they're like, and then you have to fix them. Do you plan to, Becca? Or Rebecca? Sorry. Okay. That's a lot to haul inside. Our chickens are good. One thing we have learned, thankfully we've never lost any birds, but as long as there's decent ventilation but without being drafty, And as long as it's not damp inside the coop, then they're fine. Aw. A free range bunny and he doesn't run away? That's. Oh, I said, do you plan to? Or like bullet journal or anything like that? Nice. Do you have an Instagram account? Your mom told me you were really artsy. So I think that would be really cool. That's awesome. Forming habits are tough, but I mean, you're 12, so you have lots of time to figure that out. Even as an adult, my habits change a lot. I don't share anything personal. I'm very careful not to show anything. Usually, I just like to show outlines of things. Well, you guys have seen if you follow me on Instagram. I don't put anything odd in there. Or at least I try not to. I don't usually share my actual journaling pages. I know. I have to go soon, I think, because my dog is whimpering. He's got to go outside to go pee. But I've had so much fun with you guys. It's been such a nice hangout. I'll definitely have to do this again. And it's been just so nice and chill. Well, that would be lovely. I hope she enjoys them. If you ever follow me on Instagram and you ever want to share your journal aside from online, you can always send something in a direct message too if you want me to look at something. I'd love to see your art. I think that would be really cool. I always love encouraging art and drawing and all that fun stuff. But I do think I'm gonna go because my poor pupper, I don't think you can hear him, but he's whimpering in the kitchen because he hasn't gotten let out in a while and he's still just little. That would be really fun. Once mine are a little bit older, I think I'm gonna get them each notebooks just to like, I don't even care what they do in it. Um, One thing that we do, which, okay, I can't say do without laughing because I'm immature, but my husband and I, in order to save money on birthday cards and stuff, because they usually end up getting thrown out, and Father's Day and Mother's Day, we each have a journal. And so at Father's Day, Mother's Day, random times throughout the year, we'll get the kids to draw pictures in this book and like now that Rainer's getting older, he can start to write things. But a lot of times, like we'll ask them what it is, and we'll write down what the picture is and what it's for and what they want to say. And so we have a whole book of the last few years of them drawing their own little pictures each year for Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, all that stuff. And I think that's kind of cool. And then that way, A, it saves a lot of money on cards, and B, you have all of these notes and messages. And sometimes I leave like little loving messages to Jared, and he'll leave ones to me or whatever. So if you look back over the years, there's all these little sweet messages all in one place. It wasn't my idea. One of my friends on Facebook was talking about it, and I was like, that we need to do. That is amazing. And I immediately went out and bought 2 notebooks, and they just love drawing pictures and stuff. So I absolutely love that. I think it's so much fun. And you could literally have like 10 years worth of notes in this thing, depending on how often you use it. So it's so cute to have all in one go. And I love looking through too because the pictures are starting to go like from scribbles to actual drawings, and I just think it's so adorable. But anyway, I think I am going to go because he's whining more. Uh, but I had so much fun with you guys, and thank you so much for hanging out. And I'm going to take off now, but I would definitely love to hang out again another time. I'll definitely come on another night, and I hope I get to speak to you. And I think it's so funny that it's like dark here, and you're just getting through your day. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I really enjoyed this, and thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.